Hi everyone. Welcome back to the Sports Breakdown once again. So today we are going to discuss about Sri Lankan women's team winning the Asia Cup 2024, and we'll also be discussing about obviously the Sri Lankan men's team actually horrific performance in all three 2020s. So we'll be discussing about that. Obviously, the middle order I don't have words to say, so that's why I brought in two guests to actually speak about the sort of issues that the middle order is having, because the top three are scoring runs, but the rest of the batters simply don't know how to score runs. I don't know how they are getting out two part-time bowlers who are bowling after a long time, like Rinku Singh and Surya Kumar Yadav. I don't have questions. I don't think any of the Sri Lankan fans have answers to that, and I don't think I think even it's understandable that the public gets frustrated, obviously, and irritated, of how this Sri Lankan men's team is performing, because when the women's team are having all the highs right now, the men's team I think are going through all the lows in cricket right now. I simply have no words to describe the feelings that even I have, or I think even any Sri Lankan cricket fan has. So we have Indushan joining us for the first time. I think you might have seen him on Mumbai Indians live that he went 2 years or 3 years ago, that it went viral, and even I also joined MI live this season. But I went as a neutral fan. But thank you, Indushan. I think you joined one time to my channel, I think back in the IPL auctions, if I'm not mistaken. But it's
Yes,
been a very very long
yes,
time
yes.
since being having you, and thank you so much for accepting the invite, because it's serious discussion that we are going to discuss about, especially of the men's team, because I think really, I mean, everyone's irritated. And I was watching the Murali end yesterday, and even I haven't seen Mark. Usually, Mark never gets frustrated, but we saw Mark also getting frustrated and irritated. It's understandable, for any Sri Lankan cricket fan to get irritated with this performance. But thank you, Indushan, for joining us. And we have Adil Siddiq also joining us as usual, to discuss about all Sri Lankan cricket, and also women's cricket in general. All right, let's begin. Indushan, I will come to you, because since you are my guest for the first time, so I want to ask you. Let's talk about the Women's Asia Cup, obviously. And, obviously, Sri Lankan women's team beating India women's team for the first time in a final in Sri Lanka, good turnout. But the way that they won the Women's Asia Cup, the Sri Lankan team, by 8 wickets, they won this match. The way, even though Chamari Atapattu got out after she scored 61, the way that the others stepped up. Your thoughts and emotions towards the Sri Lankan women's team, and how they've actually rised up to the occasion this time around and winning it very convincingly. So, your thoughts, Indushan, over that?
Extremely delighted about it. And first of all, saying hi to everyone who's watching all over the world. And thank you so much for inviting me for this event. And I'm so happy about it. Absolutely thrilled about it because it's been a while that we see. Because I want to just go a little bit back. You should say, Sri Lankan women's team. We know that Shashikala Sirivardhana was the captain for it. And then Chamari came. And then it's just only one name, Chamari. But the last 15 months, they have been making massive progress because the Sri Lankan team went to South Africa and England and won series. They have defeated New Zealand here, West Indies here. So it's like massive, massive progress in the last 15 months or so. And we started hearing names like, Wish Me, and all of a sudden, Harshita, and she used to get a lot of player of the match awards and all these things. So when we go to that final, it was like I thought it's one last push because we had the toughest semi-final to be honest. And then we got two new heroes, Anushka Sanjeevani and Sugantika Kumari, emerged from nowhere, and so they had unbelievable confidence and incredible self-belief to take Sri Lanka through. And then you go there, and because we had whatnot, we dropped catches, and there was some uh, Richa Ghosh got out, but umpires didn't hear it. So we had all these things. And as a Sri Lankan fan, the uncontrollables were never on our side. Like whether the rain came in 2007 with the men's team, and the dew came in 2011 when it shouldn't come. So I was thinking, okay, is it going to be that same thing? And then we went to bat as usual. Vishmi got out, so it was okay. So I'm a bit nervous, but Chamar is there. Chamar is there, and then Chamari got out after making that super winning. And we were oh my god, this is going to be another heartbreak. But at that point, Kavisha and Harshita. My goodness, they put on a very good partnership, especially Harshita because she was doing the anchoring role when Shamari was playing. But we heard from the presentation ceremony that Shamari told if I get out, it's your responsibility to take the team over the line. So she stepped up for the occasion. And what I really, really, adored or awestruck by this women's team, or perhaps which is lacking in the men's team, is if you just really take Kavisha's entire career, she has hit only two sixes, and those two sixes came on the Asia Cup final. And how much this woman should have a self belief and hunger for success to do this best version of her in the final. So I'm elated, I'm delighted, I'm so happy about what they have done, and I was literally celebrating. And it because it came around mighty Indian team, like because the Indian team is the only team perhaps challenging Australia and England toe to toe, and they recently scored 500 runs against South Africa on the day first of the Test match, and they completely dismantled South Africa in their own backyard. So they are very strong, and they had definitely the firepower. Who Shefali to Mandana to Harmanpreet to Jemima. So they really a power pack side. So it's literally a very very good win for Sri Lanka.
Yeah. Indushan, I just want to ask like one question. Like, do you think this evaluates the 1996 ODI World Cup victory? Although this is a Asia Cup, I know it's a Asia Cup victory, but still I feel like this is the Sri Lankan women's first major tournament victory. So, do you think this evaluates the 1996
Absolutely,
ODI World Cup
absolutely.
victory, or do you think they have
Uh,
to obviously achieve a ICC World Cup trophy in order to say that we are to be compared to the 1996 victory? Your thoughts on that? Because several people are comparing this to the 1996 ODI World Cup victory. That's why I was asking. Yeah.
Definitely, it's a 1996. I mean, a typical equivalent moment because I want to tell that women's cricket is women's cricket, men's cricket is men's cricket. So I always write to people do not call Chamari as a female Ranatunga or female Jayasuriya. She's Chamari Atapattu, and she had her own struggles, she had her own success, and she was doing really good for all this time. But if you just really wanted to equalize something a massive success, because 1996 World Cup kind of opened us the gates for the men's cricket. Perhaps this will be a major, major title because, the I think few weeks ago, Chamari gave a YouTube interview and she said, her biggest target is to bring an ICC trophy to the country. She's working hard and the girls are working hard too. So we can definitely draw parallel because this is the first time you get a pack house. And I see when Chamari was coming for toss, if you have just seen the broadcast, the Sri Lankans were roaring and they were shouting Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka, because these kind of things normally don't happen on women's game. We see massive number of people coming because she has inspired so much, and her school band was coming there to play to encourage them. So this is a big big moment, I would say, perhaps a 96 moment for the women's cricket, even though it's an Asia Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming to Adil now. Adil, your thoughts on how Harshita Samarvikram actually handled the situation once Chamari got out? Because Harshita obviously dropped two catches in that final. Dropped both Smriti Mandana and Risha Ghosh in that final, and those were two crucial drop catches because Smriti Mandana was on 10, and then she managed to score 50 more runs after that drop catch. So, and India managed to score 167. So I wanted to know your thoughts, like after the first innings, did you think at any point the Sri Lankan women's team can chase this 168? And also your feelings once Chamari got out, did you think that it was over, even though there was Harshita and Kavisha Dilhari, and there was some batting to come, obviously. But your thoughts on those two scenarios?
Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, the first scenario you were saying, the moment Chamari Athapattu got out, right? So when Chamari Athapattu, so let's go back to the semi-final. When Chamari Athapattu got out in the semi-final, it was 20 of 20 that was required, and it was a fairly easy opponent, Pakistan. I mean, I'm comparing with India.
Yeah.
Comparing with India, fairly easy opponent and an easier target. Anushka Sanjeevani was there, and Hasini Pereira came and got run out, and then Sugandhika Kumari, who is not a batter, so we only bet until number 7.
Yeah.
Nilakshi was already out, who was the usual number 7, so she was not there. Sugandhi came out, and then at that point I was actually panicking, because if Sugandhi Kumari, I mean, we couldn't give the strike back to Anushka Sanjay, it would have been curtains, because she doesn't have shots. Sugandhika Kumar is not a batter. She's in the team to bowl. She's a brilliant bowler. She only has this leg side shot, which she played literally for every ball except for one good cut that she played, which was there to be hit. So Pakistan, they just kept bowling, to her hitting arc, and she got couple of boundaries. She played a good cut, and then eventually she got out, right? And then it was who came at the end. I think another bowler. I think it was Achini Kulasurya
Achini
who came into
Kulisuru.
bat.
Yeah.
Achini Kulasurya, but still, it was 20 of 20. So Anushka Sanjeevani, she held the nerve, and we somehow got through. But in the final, it's a different case. We are playing India, probably one of the best teams in the world, not just in Asia. Indusan rightly said, like, their most recent form. They've beaten like quality sides and with big margins. And they are the team to beat in this Asia Cup. And I don't think Sri Lanka has beaten India in the recent. I mean, yes, we
In
have
two
beaten them,
years.
but
Yeah.
not in the recent. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably 2 years ago or some very long time ago. Even though we have beaten good sides in coming up to this tournament, we beat, like in this sense, we beat New Zealand, England, South Africa. We were unbeaten in the World Cup qualifier. So even we've been in good form. Beating India, we've not done that recently, and it's definitely a tough task. And Deepthi Sharma was bowling really, really well, and most of the bowlers were bowling well. So when Chamari got out, it was still around 60, 70 runs to get, and
Yeah.
we had around 5 wickets or 6 wickets in hand. We still had batting to come. Hasini Pereira was yet to come. Nilakshi was yet to come. Anushka Sanjeevani was yet to come. We had batting, so it was not all doom and gloom for Sri Lanka. But Chamari's wicket is the wicket. And let me put into more context. Harshita and Kavisha. Yes, they have finished games in the past. Harshita has remained unbeaten with the scores of above 20 in around 6 to 7 occasions before this final. So she knows how to finish games. She has finished games for Sri Lanka. Even Kavisha has done that quite a few times, not only in T20s, even in ODIs. So both of them have finished games, and they know how to finish games. But this game is different. Why is it different? I'm pretty sure they've never played in front of a full packed stadium in their careers. Yes, they've been playing for Sri Lanka since 2015-16, both Harshita and Kavisha, even though they are still around 25, 26 years. I think Kavisha is even younger than that. So even though they are young, they've been playing for Sri Lanka for quite a long time, because they started very young. So during this 8 7 8 years span, they've never played in front of such a big audience, and the pressure of a final. It's definitely a different ball game. Doesn't matter how good you are. When it comes to a final, you tend to kind of choke. We've seen with teams like South Africa. Even India struggled so many times until they eventually won this 2024 T20 World Cup final. We Sri Lanka have lost 4 World Cup finals. We've had like great players, but we still managed to lose World Cup finals. So final, the pressure is different.
Yeah.
And as I said, Kavisha and Harshita, they are young. They've never played in front of big crowds, so it's different. Even though they've done this particular job before. So what's impressive for me is the way they negated those two factors. I don't think they were thinking about the crowd. They were thinking it was a final. All they had in mind was, we just need to do the job, get the job done, finish the game, score the required runs, which they did. And Kavisha Dilhari had never scored a had never hit a six in T20 cricket before that game. She hit two sixes off one of the best bowlers, and she even finished the game with a six. So it's quite surreal, and like you can't. It's actually unbelievable. They've come a long way, come a very very long way. So if you, Indusen quite rightly said, I mean, no one actually cared about women's cricket up to probably last year or so. They
Yeah.
and most people would have forgotten that they were in the same Asia Cup final 2 years ago as well.
Yeah.
They played the same opponent in
Mm,
Bangladesh.
mm, mm,
Uh,
mm, mm,
they
mm.
they couldn't compete. They didn't do well
I
in
think
that game. It was a one-sided game, that final in 2022 in Sylhet.
Yeah.
I think 70 or 80 they scored, no?
They scored
Yeah,
60 something,
yeah,
65 or
it
something. I
was
remember. I was watching that
a
match. Yeah.
yeah, it was a completely one-sided game, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure not even half the crowd that was in the stadium on last Sunday were watching that
Yeah.
Asia Cup
Absolutely.
final
Definitely.
that 2 years ago,
Yeah.
because I mean the interest for women's cricket was so low. But fast forward 2 years, 2024 Asia Cup final, they have been doing well. There are more eyeballs. The stadium was packed. I'm pretty sure the streams would have had big number of viewerships at that towards the. I mean, during the entire uh, duration of the game. So they've come a long way, and it's just unbelievable. I can't put it into words. And just to say a word or two about drawing parallels with the '96 World Cup. Yes, it's not a World Cup. We've not beaten the world. We've not won an ICC trophy. But why it is as big as the '96 World Cup win is in terms of drawing interest, because even for men's cricket, until the '96 World Cup win happened, yes, there was interest, but there wasn't enough, money involved. There wasn't enough finances. It was not like a professional sport. Players were not getting paid enough. But what happened after that, we know where we have been. Even during a phase where the men's team is not doing well at all, they are still getting the incentives. Like, they are getting paid well. It's a good industry to be part of, in terms of finances and everything. So women's cricket, they have not. I mean, of course, I just read the article, Cricinfo article recently, and it said, comparing with all, putting together all the match fees, winning bonuses, and everything, average uh, money earned by a women's cricketer compared to a men's cricket of in Sri Lanka is around 25% of what a male cricketer is earning. So that's
Mm.
like one fourth of it, one fourth of
Yeah.
what the male cricketer is earning. So there is still a huge gap, which is quite understandable and fair. But now, what I personally think, what this win does is it will increase the interest. Now we are touring Ireland. I'm pretty sure people will follow that series, and after that we'll be playing the women's T20 World Cup with Bangladesh. I'm pretty sure people will be following that as well. So the interest is increasing, and there'll be a lot of sponsorships. Sri Lanka cricket will get a lot of sponsorships for women's cricket, and of course, it will do well in terms of commercials, and in turn they'll be. I'm pretty sure a big pay rise will come for the women as well, and the industry is definitely has gone up, and I'm pretty sure they'll have a more structured domestic tournament very soon. The number of teams, there is only around 4 to 5 domestic teams playing club cricket in Sri Lanka. I'm talking about women's teams.
Yeah.
The number will increase. There'll be more people involved. There'll be more young girls involved in the game. We'll see a lot more schools starting women's cricket, cricket for girls. So the interest will go up, and the industry will boom. And of course, so that's why it is as important as the '96 World Cup.
But
Whole thing.
coming to
It's
the
the
domestic cricket, don't you think like, yeah, sorry. Adil, talking about the domestic cricket, don't you think like it should stick to a smaller number, like 5 to 7 teams? Because yes,
Yeah,
after this
that's
women's Asia Cup victory, yeah, the teams might increase or whatever. But I feel like if you make it to a short pool of players, because that's where I think the success has happened. I feel like they should somehow grow the school cricket, and I think they've already done that. That is how they've scouted Harshita and Vishmi Gunaratne and all that from the school cricket itself, and that's where I think the women's cricket has grown from the school cricket itself. But in my
yeah.
opinion, I feel if they try to go and evaluate what the men's cricket did back then in the 1990s and 2000s and increase the domestic teams, all of a sudden I feel the same issue will happen to women's cricket also. Like fast forward 10 years or 20 years, I feel if they try to, the clubs get interested and try to increase domestic clubs. So women's cricket plus, I don't think that will happen first of all, because I still think there are, yes, there might be more women's cricketers who are going to get interested and going to play cricket, but I don't think as much as the men's. I think the women still have that much of numbers to play. That's according to me
Right.
what I
Okay.
see. Yeah,
Okay. Listen. Let me clear it out for you.
yeah,
So there is two things. There is
yeah,
one thing, number of clubs in the country, right?
yeah,
Number of clubs in the country and number of players playing the game.
yeah,
That I don't think anyone can stop or should even think of stopping.
yeah,
And there is another thing, which is the structure of the domestic system, the number of clubs playing, let's say, first class cricket or list A cricket or playing in the top tier. Those,
yeah,
that is up to the Sri Lanka cricket board or whoever is managing. Yes, whatever you said is regarding that area. We need
yeah,
to regulate the number of teams playing the top tier, I mean, playing provincial cricket, those and stuff. I'm not talking about that,
yeah,
but I'm talking in general, the total number of clubs in the country, the total number of players involved in the sport in the country. I'm
okay,
pretty sure that will go up, and that should go up,
yeah, okay,
because the more interest in the country, then only you have more competition. And
yes,
of course, whatever
mm,
you said, I'm pretty sure, I'm like, I don't have much trust about, or trust on the Sri Lanka cricket board,
yeah,
but whoever is involved, I hope they do, they, I mean, do the thinking, and they do their job well. They'll have to regulate the number of clubs playing the top tier teams, the number of provincial teams. That's a different topic altogether.
yeah,
But what I'm talking is in terms of the interest for within among women to play cricket, not
yeah,
just to
yeah,
watch,
yeah, I
but
understand.
to
Yeah,
take
yeah,
up cricket as a sport.
mm,
That will definitely go up.
yes, definitely.
And
Yeah,
I really, really hope it goes up, because we need more people playing the sport. Because sport is a very limited thing. I mean, as in terms of time, you can't play forever, right?
yeah,
After a
absolutely.
certain point, you'll have to give up playing. So we need more people
Yes.
involved in the game. We need more options, and regulating the top tier teams and all those stuff is up to the board, and that's not what I'm talking here.
Yeah, all right, understood. Indushan, coming back to you, thoughts on Chamari Atapattu's captaincy, because it's been, I think she's definitely, for me, she's definitely the best cricketer in this decade, I would say, probably, and probably the best women's cricketer that Sri Lanka produced after Shashikala Sirivardhana. Yes, I want to give credit to her as well, because she also, ensured that path, brought in Chamari Atapattu and gave the leadership in a good manner, I would feel. Yes, Hasini Pereira captained a few games, but still she was the one who gave the baton to Chamari Atapattu to obviously captain this team. And we know back in, I don't think many people watched the 2013 Women's World Cup, but that was where Shashikala Sirivardhana captain, and then Sri Lankan women's team went to the Super Six. They beat England and India, I think they beat even in that World Cup. So, that also I have to highlight before coming to the 2024 Asia Cup. But talk about Chamari Atapattu, and I also saw this, watched her speech, of once they came to Sri Lanka, and it's great to see, because obviously now what's going to happen to women's cricket is obviously money is going to flow to Sri Lanka. Obviously, the Sri Lankan Cricket Board has given 500,000 USD to the women's cricketers, which is definitely fair because they deserve it, and I probably hope. They share the money amongst all the cricketers in that squad, the 15-member squad. So I hope that happens. But talk about Chamani Atapattu, your thoughts, because I mean, the way she's evolved, and now, she's obviously playing the 100, she's playing in all the franchise leagues now. Everyone's eyeing on Chamari Atapattu. I mean, every I think every international tournament, I think franchise tournament is eyeing on Chamari Atapattu because she's every time performing. I think she was number one in ODI's rankings. Then 2020 rankings, she is in the top 10 right now. So your thoughts overall on Chamari Atapattu, Indushan?
She's an excellent captain and a very inspirational leader. Because I'm just really going to go to one incident, because I think in the first the Asia Cup final. So when we were bowling, I think Dilhari created that first chance to Mandana, right? And Harshita dropped it. So there are times, like, players were making some serious errors on the field, because overall the women's team has improved drastically in fitness. So that is something we need to appreciate it. But she get at times very frustrated. She was having little bit long face, but she was not going to any unwanted pressure on the players. She was not scolding them. And even on the moments like when she finds like there are easy chances for missed out, especially in the Pakistan semi-final. She get pissed off because every human being has they lose their cool for a moment, but she was controlling, holding back. And when the team needed something, she came and she immediately bowled Shefali Verma, and she got the first breakthrough. Batting or bowling, whenever the team is there, she is putting her hand up and coming and delivering what exactly the team wants. And if you just really take the top scorers of the Asia Cup, she is 300, and the second one is Shefali is 100 runs lesser than her. So that shows the class of this woman. And so that's one of those things. Another one is the leadership skill, because she's going after these girls, motivating them, keeping them, and leading them from the center. An example, you could just see the game against Malaysia. There's a Malaysian player who got injured, and she was on a walking stick and she was literally limping. So Chamari went, make it a point to go towards her, did a handshake, had a chat with her, and wished her well. So these are the things that what gives the inspiration to the team. Even after the win, everybody was running to the ground. She was savoring that moment. She was kneeling down. She was in tears, and she was looking up. She was taking that moment, and she's like kind of like getting into the moments of she loves this game, and that's kind of like being shown everywhere. And to for a person, as you said, correctly said, she's been sought after by all the leagues. She went to New Zealand. She was in BBL. She was in IPL, now hundreds. Now she is already drafted to Caribbean Premier League, the women's edition, to the Rajasthan Royals franchise. So she's been doing all these things, but when it comes to the Sri Lankan captain, she always look after them like a class teacher. She always give them tasks. So give go after them, motivate them, and she's keeping the dressing room very cool. And so that's really a very good thing. And we shouldn't really forget the coaching staff as well, Rumesh Ratnayaka, and we got a new assistant coach, Taridu, from UK. He's bringing a lot of numbers, it seems. So that's how they do the stats to kind of like plan, and they are executing well. Because as far as the if you just see the World Cup final, they came with a clear plan for Mandana. Yeah, the execution didn't happen because Harshita dropped it, and there was attempt to trap Shefali Verma. They were keeping both Shefali and Mandana for a long time quiet, so they didn't let them break away. So these are the things that you see, because a captain should understand the game, and she's very open. She goes after the numbers. She wanted to keep it everything. And more than anything, she's extremely selfless. You could see that game against Thailand, because she was just one run short of the 50, and there's a buy to collect because NRR was immaterial. She immediately ran and completed and won the match, and she didn't think about it, because every time Vishmi was making that because Tamari is approaching the 50, which means hitting boundaries, and then Vishmi making face as if oh, did I eat up your milestone? And Tamari was like, no, 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 forget about it. Hammer more boundaries, finish. These are the body language and the stuff you want to do, the aura you want to see around the captain. She's an absolutely a dream come true captain for this young women's team.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. We'll get the question from Hari here, and let's ask Adil to question. So I think we discussed this also before, I think, on my channel, but let's just answer for him also. Question is, who's going to lead after Chamari? Hari, from Hari, he's asked. Adil, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a tough question, to be honest. So I just saw that question and listening to Indusan, I was just checking the ages of the senior most cricketers of the current women's team. So most of them are most of them are 34, like Anushka Sanjeevani, Achini Kulasurya, Chamariyata Patu. All of them are 34. So there is no point in giving handing over the leadership to someone who is of Chamari's age again. Even Nilakshi De Silva. So all of them are 34. Yes, they are the most senior players, and if age was not a problem, I would have gone with someone like Nilakshi or Anushka Sanjeevani, because they've been in the team for a long time. and now they've kind of rose to that leadership roles within the role within the team. But if they are going to hand over the leadership again to Nilakshi or Anushka Sanjay, who are already who are all also same age of Chamari, there is no point of like taking on taking away the leadership from Chamari. So Chamari might as well can continue. And anyway, after a point, Chamari will have to give the leadership away, and I would like to see her playing as a player. I mean, giving up her leadership before retiring, because I want to see the next captain playing at least 1 or 2 years with Chamari in the side, because that will be a huge advantage for whoever the new captain is going to be, because Chamari is the legend in that team. So whoever the next captain is going to be, it will be really. I mean, the transition will be much smoother if Chamari can be around in the team as a player. Like we see how Virat Kohli is there now, even Rohit Sharma will. I don't know if he'll continue, but anyway, we need the former captain in the team just to make the transition smoother. So my options are Sugandhika Kumari is an option. She is still 32, but I'm not sure if they'll go with a bowler, because they'll also be looking to groom someone like Sachini Nisansala, who is also a left arm, will want to give more opportunities to her. In that case, they'll have to rest Sugandhika Kumari a bit often. So I don't think they'll go with that option. And then the options are Hasini Pereira and Harshita. Harshita is 26, Hasini is 29, and Harshita for me is a bit too young, I guess, but she's the best candidate at this point of time. She's matured, she's consistently performing, and she's young. She has a long. She can, if she is given the captaincy now, she can lead for at least around 7 or 8 more years. She's the ideal candidate at this point, but I'm a bit afraid if she's too young. We don't want to do the same mistakes that we did with the men's team, right? Handing over captaincies to young players who are very young. So I have my concerns with Harshita, not because she is not good, because she's a bit too young at this point. I prefer her getting the captaincy when she's around 28, 29, so she'll also mature a bit more. Hasini, even though she has captaincy experience, she has captained Sri Lanka before this. She has captained in an Asia Cup. Like, she was the designated captain for a certain period. After I think Shashikala stepped down, and before they eventually went back to Chamari, because Chamari had a captaincy stint once and she gave it up. They went back to Shashikala. Shashikala, I'm not sure, just thinking. I mean, and Hasini did a short stint, and then they came back to Chamari. So Hasini is an option, but she's not performing that consistently. That's my only issue. If she can kind of at least find her form and consistently perform and be a regular fixture within the playing 11, then I think we can consider handing over the captaincy to Hasini probably after the T20 World Cup in only T20s, and then hand over the ODI captaincy after the next year's ODI World Cup. So, I mean, I'm not sure, but I think Harshita is the most likely next captain. They'll probably go with Harshita, but I have my concerns because she's still 26, and I think she needs a bit more time to mature as a leader. No, I mean, she's a really good player at this point. She's performing, and I don't want that to be ruined as well.
Yeah,
So it's a tough choice, to be honest. It's a tough choice. I'll leave
absolutely.
that to the selectors. But my candidates are Hasini and Harshita.
Yeah, absolutely. Hari has asked another question. I want to ask Adil, since he knows this topic well. But 2020 World Cup coming up, Adil, in 3 months. But we've been handed into a very, very tough group. I don't know. We are, I think, in
Very
the
tough.
group of, I think, New Zealand, Australia, India, and Pakistan, if I'm not mistaken. And then the other group has South Africa, West Indies, England, Bangladesh, and Scotland, if I'm not mistaken. So, yes, we've beaten New Zealand this year. We've beaten India this year. I don't know about Australia. Australia are the best team in women's
Not yet.
cricket. By
Yeah.
far, I don't think anyone can
Yeah.
compete with Australia unless they themselves, collapse or lose badly to a team or whatever, like what happened in the 2016 2020 World Cup. But it's very rare that the Australian team actually, the women's team actually lose matches nowadays. And Pakistan, I think Sri Lanka can handle. So, but your thoughts in the 2020 World Cup? Do you see Sri Lanka can progress beyond the group stages? Adil, and I'll come to Indushan as well. But Adil, first of all, your thoughts. Can Sri Lanka progress beyond the group stages, even though we are given a very tough group, considering we've come for the qualifiers and we've got a very, very tough group this time?
Yeah, so I think for us, we'll start. I mean, of course, we'll not start as favorites to qualify from that group. It will be easily Australia and India, even though we just beat India in the Asia Cup final. They'll start as the favorites, so we'll not have that pressure of being the favorites. In Asia Cup, we were playing at home, crowds were gathering, so there was a bit of pressure, but they still succeeded. But T20 World Cup, they'll go as underdogs, but I feel they have a good opportunity because all our four group games are in Sylhet, and we'll be playing India Pakistan. Yes, they've been brought up in such conditions, but I don't think that plays a huge role when it comes to women's cricket. But what plays a huge role in terms of slow wickets in women's cricket is against Australia and teams like Australia and New Zealand. We are playing both Australia and New Zealand. We saw how England struggled against us in England when the wickets were a bit spin friendly. We only played one fast bowler in both the games we won. We bowled first. We just choked them with spin. Yes, it was not a full strength England side. They didn't have like their full I mean, best players, but still they struggled against our spin, which is I think we have kind of a more or less one of the best spin attacks in women's cricket going around at this point of time because we have variety. We have good off spinners. Our off spinner can also bowl leg spin. Kavisha Dilari. We have Chamariya Tapattu who can kind of contain the runs. We have good left arm finger spinners. Sugandhi is there. Sachin Nisal, and we have a really good trump card in the 15-year-old Shashini Gimhani, who is an ambidextrous spinner. So we have variety in terms of spin. And Sylhet historically has been very slow and low wickets, dry wickets. And I'm pretty sure it will remain the same in the women's World Cup as well. So Pakistan, I would back Sri Lanka to beat Pakistan in the World Cup. India, we've beaten them in our Asia Cup final, so why not again? Even though they are the favorites in that game, and Australia and New Zealand, conditions are favoring us. So it's not all doom and gloom for us, even though the group is tough. So I would back them. I would back them. They'll be the dark horses in the Women's T20 World Cup. Not the favorites for sure. Not even the favorites to qualify from the group because we have Australia who are like in a different league when it comes to women's cricket, and India who are doing really well at this point of time, even though they lost the Asia Cup final. So we'll be the dark horses. New Zealand are in bit of a decline, so we'll go as the third best team in the group behind India and Australia. So third best team in the group means it's just one push to become the second best, right? You
Yeah,
only because two teams qualified. So I would say we have a good chance. Three good games, and yeah, we are into the semifinals. So let's
absolutely.
hope. Yeah.
Indushan, coming to you, yeah, obviously in the last 2020 World Cup, I think we defeated both South Africa and Bangladesh, but this time, as Adil also mentioned, we are sort of in a tough group, but there's positive signs of it. Obviously, with the way that we've been playing, obviously we beat England in the 2020 series, then beat New Zealand, I think. Although we won the ODI series, I think we beat New Zealand once in the 2020I series in Sri Lanka, and then yes, we lost against West Indies. I think 3-0 or 2-1 to West Indies in the recent 2020I series. But anyways, your thoughts, Indushan, coming to the Women's 2020
Uh,
World Cup, you overlook the Sri Lankan women's team and their chances.
I mean, Adil has actually summarized our bowling attack, so I don't really want to repeat those things. But
Yeah,
I always wanted to say one thing. Like I always tell my friends also whenever these World Cup groups come and they said our group is tough or something like that. I said like if you are to become a world champion, you need to beat the world. You can't just say
correct,
let me bypass them,
Correct.
like bypass them.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
always says it's not the strength of it's not the size of the dog in the fight, but it's actually the size of the fight in the dog. So we actually start as underdog, as he said, but there is, I mean, obviously, India will come with under a lot of pressure, especially Harmanpreet. She has lost some matches, so there is a lot of calls about whether her leadership is not effective or something like that. She has a point to prove. And Australia, I think perhaps they are going to a major tournament post Meg Lanning era, right? Because Meg Lanning has just stepped aside, so she retired. Yeah, so it's I mean, Australia with Meg Lanning is super tough. Australia without Meg Lanning is tough. I
It's
think that's all I have to say because they don't
no,
really
no,
give up. And
yeah,
as Adil said, New Zealand, maybe Sophie Devine is in her twilight of the career, and they also have players. They also certainly have players, but like they just really like need to step up. So I mean, we if we put our effort there as the definitely the variety of mystery spinning attack we have, and if we plan well with proper data and everything, it
correct.
wouldn't be that much difficult for us to just navigate through. Because the one good thing about the women's World Cup, if you top the group, you are into knockouts. Once you go to knockouts, it could be anybody's game. On that given day, like if you hold on to the catches and if you play well, and like one or two boundaries here and there, like Sugandhika Kumari hit against Pakistan, would we will seal the game. So there is lot for Sri
Yeah,
Lankan fans to be hopeful about it. And at the same time, yeah, because we are starting in middle, we are not that bad, we are not that good either. So let us
Hmm.
try our chances. Let us roll all the dice. That's what I would say. Because and I would say like Chamari is so determined about giving 100, not 100, 200% here. So likewise, we will have lot of our things to do. So hopefully we can see with our bowling attack, we can do something and we can rip them through, and we just really try to see what we can fancy there.
Yep, absolutely. All right, guys. So we'll wrap things up on the women's
yeah.
cricket side
One,
because it's
one,
been
one
40.
last, yeah.
Yeah.
One last line about the Women's World Cup chances is we have nothing to lose. No one would mind if even if we get knocked out of the first round. So it's just for them to
Absolutely.
go and play with all their heart and try their best.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go to the men's cricket. And I really don't know, I don't want to talk about this topic, but then I have to because, although, we are all being frustrated or whatever, but we have to back the men's team when they're going through the worst phase. But even I don't have answers to this. That's why I brought in two guests. But coming to Adil, first of all, I really don't know. Talking all three 2020Is, first 2020, 140 for 2 wickets or whatever, losing 8 wickets for just 30 runs or whatever. Second 2020, same story. Third 2020, also 110 for one. We could have easily won the match. And then once Kusal Mendis and Pathum Nisanka gets out, all we lose 9 wickets for 27 runs. And then we are losing the wickets also to part-time bowlers. Like if it was maybe a regular bowler like Kuldeep or whether I think Kuldeep didn't play, but if it was to Aksha Patel or even Siraj or to some bowler at least it's okay that we are losing the match if they had a good day or whatever. But this when we are getting all out to sorry losing wickets to part-time bowlers, it's a huge concern. I don't know what sort of pressure the men's team are having, but I really don't know. And then we obviously have Sanat Jayasuriya as the interim edge coach, and obviously he would have told a good thing or two about how the Sri Lankan team is handling, but still I don't see any progress. And then Tilana Kandabbe also going to interviews. He's also saying the middle order has all the issues. But your thoughts? I really don't know what to say about the middle order because see, we are having the best team right now in the squad. I don't think there's any other good player that can come into this squad. Yes, maybe Bhanuka Rajapaksha has a chance, but then obviously they're giving the chance to come into Mendes. It's understandable because he's young. He can also bowl. He's a choice bowler also. That's why they're giving a chance. He can bowl both right hand and left hand. That's why I think he's in the squad more than Bhanuka. But that's the only player by far we can bring, and maybe Angelo Matthews. But then they moved on from Angelo Matthews. So apart from that, I think we have the best squad right now. I don't know. You can't blame. According to me, my opinion is that you can't blame the coaches with how the players are performing because if you're going to collapse, I mean, 8 wickets for 27, 9 wickets for 27 runs or whatever, it's completely. I think it's the players' fault that has to be taken. But but your thoughts? I really don't get what's up with Sri Lankan men's cricket at the moment. It's totally. I mean, I'm clueless. So Adil, all up to you. You can say, yeah, your thoughts on how they've been collapsing in all three 2020 matches so far. It's terrible for me. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, it's obviously it's horrific performance, terrible cricket, and it's we've hit a new low for sure. We have hit a new low, as you said, if we can't score 9 runs in the last 2 overs, even on a turning deck against two part-time spinners with batters who are batting in the top seven, it was not that we were like 7, 8 wickets down and our tailenders were batting. We had a set batter in Kusal Janit Pereira when the 18th over started, and on the other end it was Ramesh Mendis, I think.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
it's after that only Kamindu Mendis came and Chamindu Wickramasinghe. So anyway, like it's a new low that we hit. It's you can't give any excuses. It's unjustifiable losing from that situation with that advantage that we had. We had wickets in hand. We needed less than run a ball, and the bowlers bowling at us for part times. Even though the wicket was slow, as professional cricketers, you have to do it. It's like catching a very straightforward catch. So anyway, I mean, if we are to talk about this particular game and this particular series, I think we'll just keep talking about our middle order lapses. And if you just look at it, take a step behind and look at how we have lost games in the past few years or the series. Every year, every series or every tournament, we've had one big burning issue. So this series, it has been our middle order. If you take the World Cup, our top order was not performing. Series before that, it would have been death bowling. It would have been power play batting. It would have been whatever. So most of the times we've and it also, so when in a series our death ball, so in this series our top order has done well, right? But in the World
Yeah.
Cup they didn't do well.
Mm.
And middle order, I think they would have done in a series or two before this, few series back. So
Yeah.
it has always been the, it's not one thing that has been a huge problem from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yes, there is this fundamental skill gap that we have, for sure. We are definitely behind the rest of the world when it comes to batting skill, power hitting. We are very far behind the world. We are very far behind the top teams. We have
Yeah.
to agree that we are not a
Absolutely.
top team anymore in the world. We are in the second tier. We are really competing with Pakistan, Bangladesh, countries like that in the second tier. We have to agree that that's the reality. That has been the case for around more than 5 6 years, since around 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
Keeping that fact aside, this now we are finding ways to hit new lows. So this problem, what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
we focus only on the problems that we need to. We kind of focus on the problems that we have. So if we start another T20 series tomorrow or next week, we'll probably, our middle order will perform, but we'll find a new problem. Sometimes our top order will fail again. So what I'm trying to say is, we are failing to play a complete game. If we do well, even from good positions, we find ways to lose games. So we've not yet played a proper game of T20 cricket for a long, 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 long time, even with teams who are not as good as us.
Mm.
Even with we play associate teams quite often, right? Because we play qualifiers and all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even against them, we've not played a complete T20 game where we can say, okay, that was a clinical performance. We can, even
Mm.
though, even the games that we win, we cannot say that because we've not
Exactly.
played a complete game. So
Absolutely.
what I feel is, like, we clearly lack that. I mean, we don't know the template to play T20 cricket or even any limited overs cricket. We don't know. We are not planning well enough. And in this day and age, especially when it comes to T20 cricket, teams plan out the entire game before coming out to the field. You can literally plan out all the different scenarios of a T20 game, because you have enough data, you have videos, you have everything. Teams
Yeah.
like India, and if you, I think I posted a video on Twitter soon after India won the T20 World Cup. That was a clip from Ashwin's review of
YouTube
the
channel.
game. He
Yeah.
was talking the time Rohit Sharma and Rahul Dravid spends on planning, and they have their in-house analysts traveling with the team, and also they've been having another analyst who was quite who was in USA or something, and
Okay.
he just revealed who he was. It's Himanish Ganju, if I
Oh
pronounce
yeah,
his
yeah. I
name.
saw the post. Yeah, I watched
Yeah,
his video. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So he
Mm.
has been supporting. He has been working with Team India since 2022. So Ashwin was saying the number of hours or the time they spend on planning. So from ball one to ball to the last ball, difference. Even if you bat first, even if you bowl first, depending on the different combinations, your opposition will, because you can't predict the exact composition your opposition will play, right? But you
Yeah,
can come up with different simulations. You can kind of plan it out, and you know the capabilities and the weaknesses of the opposition because you have all those data. So you literally plan an entire game with all the possible outcomes. So that's the time they spend on planning. And I'm pretty sure we our fellow our cricketers train enough. I
yeah,
mean, of
definitely.
course, that's the only thing they do. They spend time in the nets. They train enough. But when it comes to the middle, when they come to the middle, in modern cricket, you will be found out because you are playing against teams who are coming very well prepared with all the planning in the world. So that is one aspect. I'm pretty sure we lack planning, and we can't visualize a complete game still. We've not done that part.
Yeah,
The second aspect is talking about this third T20. Forget about planning, forget everything, forget data, forget everything. You needed just 9 runs in 12 balls, and you're facing part time bowlers. You know how the wicket is behaving. There was Kusa Janikpera who was set batter, and now you don't need anything. Now, this is just simple basic cricket. Just need to what work the ball and get the 9 runs in 12 balls. For this, you don't need any planning. You don't need anything. You just need to get bat on ball and run. Right now, this even in such situations, if you can't win a game, what is implied by that? Yes, I mean, forget about planning. They've never done that. No, they even lack game awareness. I honestly felt we've been having this problem for a long time, probably since
definitely.
2016 or something. We've always lacked game awareness. We just go into brain fade situations
Yep,
every time. So
absolutely.
we should I still can't understand why our coaching staff and the think tank or the selectors or anyone haven't understood this. Because yes, we know all these cricketers who are playing for the national side, they are like, they can, even though Wanindu Asaranga performed such in Wanindu Asaranga, Sarikang, all of them failed. We know they have done well in games, we know what they can do. But
Yeah,
they just go into brain fades most of the times. uh, they just don't read the games at times. So what implies is these are the selectors, the coaching staff, they should understand this, right? So we as fans, we just watch cricket only, but they are of course the experts. So if they can't accept the fact that okay, these cricketers are not going to think on their own, they are not going to think on their feet, they are not smart enough, they're not cricket smart.
mm.
What they can do is treat these cricketers as tools. You give the input, you plan out the games, give more emphasis on to planning, like sit with them, talk about game situations, improve the game awareness inside them. It's not about just spending hours and hours in the nets,
Yep,
because spending hours and
definitely.
hours facing the same ball, or like improving your skills won't improve your cricket IQ. For that, you need to be in situations, and you need to talk about this. Because okay, I'll give you a classic example. We all do exams in our lives, right?
Yeah,
But we also study the syllabus, and also we do past papers. Why do we do past papers? Because studying the syllabus only won't help us pass that particular exam.
yeah,
Because when we do the past papers, we know exactly the type of questions we'll get in that exam. So this is a global norm, right? That's
yeah,
whatever O
absolutely. Yeah,
level, A
definitely.
level, bachelor's, master's, whatever exam, that's
Yeah,
the norm. We always try to do past papers and know what type of questions we'll get. So this is the exact same thing in cricket. You can study the entire syllabus, but you need to kind of do that part as well. Because now, unlike cricket in the cricket back in the day and test cricket and everything, modern cricket is very fast, and the opposition is, especially for a team like Sri Lanka, your opposition is way higher than you, way better than you. So you cannot think at that point. You will have to plan everything, think those situations, be ready with all the options, be ready with the options in the middle. And even okay, again I'm coming back to This last game is not such a situation. It was a basic situation, just 9 runs in 12 balls. You should have done that. There is no excuses for that. No planning is required for that. Again, they need to the coaching staff need to talk about. I mean, talk with the players about that aspect. And I don't see them putting enough emphasis on that. They just can't blame and expect them to grow and build that aspect of the game. Even if you remove all these 15 members and bring a new set of players from the domestic structure, or we can't bring players from India, right? We have to pick players from Sri Lanka. Even if you pick players from the domestic structure, they'll end up doing the same mistakes, because
Yeah.
that's the generation of cricketers that we have at this point, and we have to accept it, and we have to change the cricket that we play. We have to kind of put more emphasis on the cricketing IQ, game situation handling, planning. Just spending hours and hours in the nets alone, of course, that is the major part of it. You, if you don't train, whatever planning you do, you can we can they can only be like speakers about cricket like us, but they
Absolutely.
also should train. And then these things have, so I'm pretty sure we don't put enough emphasis on this part, and that's the biggest issue.
Yeah.
Because
I,
you
yeah.
don't lose games from such situations because you're not that skilled. You lose games from such situations because you lack the cricket IQ, you lack game sense. And there's one more thing, the need to win. I mean, we've been telling this, but who are we to judge another one's attitude to win a thing, because we are not in their shoes. So I'll not go into that part, which I don't like to judge. I don't know. But anyway, there is a huge gap in terms of thinking the game and finishing games, planning out a game, just playing a complete game of cricket. Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, I have nothing to say about this series.
But I just want to ask from both of you, since you're very closely to the Sri Lankan cricket, is there actually analysts right now for Sri Lanka in terms of ODI in 2020? Because Ratnam was there, but then 2022 he left Sri Lanka cricket, obviously due to other reasons. But after him, was there any analysis that was taken by Sri Lanka cricket? Because I don't see any sort of analysis going on. I don't see, because usually in other teams we see that there are technical cricket analysts. There are analysts who obviously speak to the batters after they depart. But I
But I
don't
think
think we are
analyst,
having analysts at the moment.
I think analyst part is to communicate with the captain and to set plans, but to talk with the batters, that's I think the role of the coaching staff, the batting coach, head coach. And if
Yeah, but at
there
least,
are
but
people
they
taking
they
notes,
also help, the technical analysts and all. They
yeah,
tell the batting coach, the mistakes that
correct,
these batters
correct,
are doing, and then
correct.
also show the
Yes,
batters, you're
yeah,
doing this
yeah,
mistake, you're playing this shot, but then you can correct it, right, by playing
yeah.
a different shot, or try to improve your technique or something. That's,
But
I
I'm not
think,
sure. I'm
yeah,
not sure if our players have the kind of IQ to look into an analyst's feed insights and understand that. They'll definitely need a mediator in terms of a head coach or a batting coach to make them understand that. But
yeah,
anyway, yeah, Indusan, to you.
yeah,
I don't think, I honestly don't think that they have a proper analyst or someone
Okay.
with
Yeah.
the team now, because it's been a while that we saw that these kind of things happening. But like I think I think they should have an analyst, because we saw the Sri Lanka's highest ever success in the recent past was the Asia Cup, which we won in Dubai.
2022.
So that time, you see that Silverwood was giving them C, D, C, B, C, A2,
those code,
like, so
yeah,
he was giving
yeah,
because, so I mean, I apparently met him in a function, and I, out of curiosity, I asked him what exactly you were trying to say. So he was like, we have some plans and matchups.
Mm.
I won't say which is plan, which is matchup, because that's exactly his job. So he was
Yeah.
giving captain some idea, right? So this is what as Adil correctly said, there is a book called Hitting Against the Spin. So that book is all about how England use data and
Mm.
statistics to win the World Cup, the 2019 World Cup. So it's how, because for example, like, team like New Zealand, who are resource in terms of their cricket bodies, like, not less richer than us in terms of resources and all these things. They always are very street smart when they play. So these
Mm.
numbers are very, very essential these days because there is a term called shielding in T20 batting, right? So you shield the batter because of that. So like I also watched that particular episode of Ashwin because they talk about wind, with the wind. So you can see all these things happening because that's why because of the grounds you change, especially in Caribbean. Sometimes, like, they sent Aksar because when Kohli was there, Aksar was sent because then one person can take on the bowling with the wind. Because if the wind is against for Kohli, it will be because he's a right-hander. Aksar will be the left-hander. He can take it. So these are the street smart stuff. I personally believe, because with all due respect, Sri Lankan team, I think I also watched that presser of Kandambi, and where this press meet he was telling about how hard they practice. Exactly what Adil said. But a coach should be, you should think beyond that point, right? Because I mean, if I have to go back, as Adil correctly said, we don't have match winners. No one taught Lasit Malinga to keep the shoes in front of the wicket and start practicing Yorkers. No one
Yeah.
told Malinga and Kule to practice wide Yorkers. No one told Dilshan to invent Dil Scoop. They went out of the way. They reinvented them. They find these things. But unfortunately, we don't have that caliber of players. Okay, we accept it. But then the coaches need to be there because why I'm little bit conservative about Sanat Jayasuriya being the coach also. He mostly takes decision based on an instinct. If you are a captain, you are in the ground, it's okay for you to take instinct based decision. But when you are taking a decision for somebody else, your captain doesn't have the same instinct as you. The captain doesn't have the same cricket knowledge as you. So you should
Mm.
already take a plan and say, give captain, okay, now for this is the matchup. You use that. If that fails, this is the way. If not, this is the way. So all these things, because when these strategic timeouts and all during this franchise cricket happen, coaches come and do you think are they coming sort of, well? They're going to say like, hit it hard. No, they are going to say like, okay, this is what it is. To say like Rashid Khan has 2 overs. I anticipate he will come on 16th and 17th, because if you just watch the cricket commentary, you will get a lot of idea. Ian Bishop will decode a plan, and Ian Bishop will say like, look, South Africa's holding on Rabada.
And
Rabada should come by
Indusan,
16.
Mm.
just to interrupt. Sorry, cricket commentary, not Sri Lankan cricket commentary, because they'll never talk that. Yeah, sorry.
Forget about it. Even a Zimbabwe journalist has quoted them,
Uh,
right? So forget about them. I'm talking about
uh,
the world cricket. So like
yeah,
Yeah.
these kind of, I mean,
Yeah.
the analysts, the data scientists, the video analysts, because they say, I mean, there are terms like, I mean, I'm pretty sure if India is going to face uh, Afghanistan tomorrow, they will definitely have an idea how many wrong ones or how many googlies that Vanindu Hasaranga will bowl in power plays in mid overs and if he's coming death overs. So
yeah,
that is the level of the data and analysis these days. When
Yes.
Rashid Khan comes and all, so how, they know that what will be his go-to delivery or stop delivery in terms of like in the power plays. So because a bowler might bowl differently in power play, differently in death overs, differently in mid over. But as Adil correctly said, yeah, we had bits and pieces of good pieces of cricket. But I would say Sri Lanka had two crises throughout. One is middle order, one is middle overs, which is long standing for us. We always struggle in these two
yeah, yeah,
areas.
yeah.
So that
Absolutely.
might be
Yeah.
one of the reasons.
Yeah, Hindustan, coming back to you also. Yes, bowling wise, I think first 2020I obviously we considered 210 runs, and I want to talk mostly about the bowling, but very impressive debut from Chamindu Wickramasinghe, because facing against India in your first match and then only conceding 17 runs and getting 2 wickets for me in a crucial match against India, for me I think that's very impressive. But but the other bowlers really, I don't know what to say about Vanidu Hasaranga's bowling confidence. In second 2020, his economy was 17. Third 2020, I think his economy was around 10 or 12. Exactly don't know, but still, it's really, I think he's either lost his confidence, or either he's been overconfident, or whether he's having some sort of attitude. A lot of people are criticizing Hasaranga with his performance. I know he came through being one of the best 20I bowlers, but right now in the past year or two, I think he has really not stepped up. Tikshana, I think he does well in home conditions. I don't know, for some reason he doesn't do well in overseas, because I think he doesn't turn much, first of all, and plus it's very difficult, unless it's a spinning pitch. I think for him, with his variations that he has, especially the carom delivery, it's very difficult to obviously, pitch it up and, obviously make that ball a grip and turn. So, but and flight it also. So, but coming to the spin bowlers, it's there's some issue obviously, but fast bowling, lot of injuries, and we'll be coming in the ODI squad also. But fast bowling wise, Chamindu impressed, but other fast bowlers, I don't think really quite impressed, because Asita Fernando is also playing for after some time. Madhushanka got a chance, he didn't perform well. Patirana, I don't know what to say. He performs well in IPL every time, but then he's not consistent when it comes to Sri Lanka. But your thoughts on the bowling front for Sri Lanka? Yes, I think third 2020I, I think they did well, I would feel, to restrict India, but I think it's part to do with the pitches, which is why it was a bit difficult for the batters. But your thoughts on the bowling, Indushan?
Yeah, so I would say like when it comes to bowling, we need to understand because what exactly the role is given to them. Are you a strike bowler? Are you going to restrict runs or like create pressure? So these things actually matters. And even I have seen Dhoni's been using mostly Tikshana sometimes as a strike ball. Like because if you miss, I hit that type of deliveries that he bowls. So when it comes to Sri Lanka's fast bowlers, we always have this issue about them getting injured for now long time, and perhaps with the they all played IPL, sorry LPL, and I'm pretty sure that none of them got injured in LPL. So then, of course, like it was very unfortunate that Bruno Fernando got sick. He got an infection, and then I don't know from where they are picking all these injuries, right? They had one good tournament of 2 weeks, 3 weeks constant cricket, and then that's it. Then all of them are like getting injuries from there. So it's a very frustrating time for all of them. And when it comes to Hasaranga, what I would actually say, Hasranga, is you should know because if you are playing cricket, it's like you are inside a glass box. Everybody's watching you, everybody's analyzing you. So over the years, you need to come up with different deliveries, different strategies, different tactics, because that's how the bowling and batting is all about. Because batters also get decoded, bowlers also get decoded. So but like bowlers, when it comes to, because the emphasis on decoding the bowler is little bit higher than the batter, because they take wickets, they kind of win you matches, win you tournaments. So likewise, so in that cases, yeah, bowling is very much frustrating, and it's unfortunate that Matisha Patrana actually got injured because he pulled off his shoulder. But
Yes.
in the first match, he played well. I think he got the wicket of crucial Indian batters. Even the second match, I think he played well. So on those matches, he's playing well. Dilshan Madhushanka is having kind of an off season, I would say, because he's not performed well in the LPL as well. I saw him like going for runs, so maybe like bowlers also like have this rhythm getting upset, and they need some time to come back. So all these things, and if I have to put put this very straightforward, Asita Fernando works so hard to come to the national squad, and every time this happens, and from the national squad, he does everything possible to get him drops himself. He does that for himself. So
Yeah.
likewise, you have this strike balance for a long time. And even Madhushanka was given a break, I think, and they have picked up Binura. Then Binura got injured, so Madhushanka came back. And Lahiru Kumara, I have no idea. He's been, I mean, kind of off for the limelight for a reason. And today I see a news
Injured. Yeah.
as
He's also injured.
yeah, Azam Amim tweeting he's injured. And before
He
the
was
start of the series,
he got
yeah,
injured
so
before the LPL. So he didn't
Yeah,
play the
yeah.
LPL.
He's
yeah,
having a long
yeah.
time injury.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so then with him, you ask Nuwan Tushara got injured. So and you need to be mindful about two three things. All these Sri Lankan cricketers, especially only the bowlers, get picked up for IPL. So they all went for a full IPL. Then they went for a full T20 World Cup. Then they played a full LPL. So they have been in action for some time. And
Yeah,
these are the things you need to be like, you can't just block them or like, lock the wrap them in cotton wool and keep them always.
yeah,
They also need to work on their fitness, but at the same time you need to give them some chance to go to play these franchise leagues also, because
absolutely.
that's an earning point of view, and they learn new things. I think one of the good thing has ever happened to KGP is getting picked up by Mumbai Indians franchise for in my Emirates. So he really played well there, and that gave him some confidence, but then there was some fitness issue with him for the World Cup, and because he was in the squad, but like something, and then he came and he played a very good LPL season. Now he's striking good. So these kind of things we need to always like have this strike and balance. But it was unfortunate for us because everybody get injured. But we have a blessing in disguise. Mohammad Shiraz has been waiting for a long time. He's been knocking at the door for a long time because he's taking tons of wickets, but he was never given a chance. Now he's coming. I think Ishan Malinga also got picked up. So maybe
Yeah,
the debutants might come, because I remember once Shanaka, Rajita, and Chamira, they all made a T20 debut against India. That is in 2016 February. I think the very first match we won against India because we went with all unknown bowlers. So it might be a blessing in disguise. You never know. We'll see how it goes.
yeah. But coming to Adil once again, want to talk a bit about the middle order right here, because Dasun Shanaka 0 runs and then he got dropped for Chamindu. But talk about the third 2020, I was very surprised with the batting order, Adil, because you're bringing in Vanidhu Hasaranga at number 4 when Kamindu Mendes was supposed to bat at 4, then he failed. Then you don't bring in Chamindu Wickramasinghe at number 5 when he was batting all along in the LPL at number 5, but then he's playing for Sri Lanka, he's playing at number 8. So I really don't understand about the batting order of Sri Lanka in that match, because they had Hasarang at 4. Charit Hasarang has been failing. I don't know as captain whether he's feeling the pressure, but his scores has been terrible as a captain in the this series. I think it's been 0-14-0. So I think that's a huge concern. I know he's captaining in his first series and he'll feel the pressure, but I think the same case happened to Kusan Mendes also. He was having a peak in the World Cup, ODI World Cup, and then when he was given captain, he also failed as captain. And I really don't know who can captain this Sri Lankan team, because whenever they are given captain, they are underperforming. You know, it's same case with Hasaranga with his bowling when he was captaining. Then again, once he's been given not he's been dropped as captain, he's not also performing in the ball in most matches, and with the bat, I don't know. So Adil, first question, Hasaranga, does he now, yes, this floating system, they are now continuing for 3 years, I think, with Hasaranga, it's failed. Absolute fail, I would say. There's Avishka Fernando in the bench who can, obviously, he's, as we call Mr. LPL, he's not given any chance. Should we make Hasaranga just as a bowler and not as a batting all-rounder? Because, yes, he's been performing in every domestic match. I've seen him scoring runs. But when it comes to international cricket, for some reason, he can't perform. Charith Asalanka, maybe first series, I wouldn't say anything to Charith Asalanka. Yes, I think we should give him some time. But to talk about this batting order, it's really confusing, because you have Chamindu Wickramasinghe who batted at number 5 in the entire LPL. He's batting at number 8. You're promoting Ramesh Mendes ahead of Kamindu Mendes. Another question, I don't know, because Sanat Jayasuri's head coach, you have Kilana Kandabbe, three-time LPL winning coach with Jaffna Kings. He should have a better knowledge being a batting coach. He should know the batting composition. I don't understand what sort of ridiculous batting order they have gone with in the third 2020I, when even though they were 110 for 2, they should know the instinct. They should know how to send a proper batting order, and have a proper plan, against these Indian bowlers. But your thoughts on that, Adil?
Uh, so, I mean, let me talk about the batting order in the third ODI. I mean, third T20. Of course, even I was not convinced. And first of all, before coming to that, see, T20 cricket, in T20 cricket, fixed batting lineups are gone. They're not the norm anymore. We cannot rely on fixed batting lineups in T20 cricket. When it comes to T20 cricket, it's all about playing the right matchups, like sending the right hand, left hand whenever you need to play the right matchups, and playing these handover roles and entry points. So a player like Dasun Chanakar, you need to make sure that he comes out with within when it's the last 3-4 overs. And there is no point of sending a player like Kamindu Mendes when you're two down in the 17th over. See, so I'm talking about intermittent. So fixed
Yeah.
batting order is not a thing in T20 cricket anymore. It's all about playing the matchups, entry points, handover roles, and I think Indusan was talking about this shielding and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
I
India did that.
understand that, Adil,
Yeah,
but the way that
yeah.
they've
Let
approached,
me come to the answer.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Let me finish the answer. So so that's the norm in T20 cricket. So let's
yeah,
keep that aside. So
yeah.
Wanindu Saranga floating and all everything. I'm totally fine with that. But talking particularly about the third T20, let's look at the situation. We were when we lost our second wicket when we required 20
110,
of, yeah, so we
27 of,
27 of 27. Yeah. So the required run rate was 6 less than run a ball. Uh, I'm not sure why we needed a hitter like Wanindu Hasaranga. But I didn't understand the thinking behind that. But now I
yeah,
just watched the press conference with Sanjay Surya, which happened just today. I was just
yeah,
watching this before joining the show. So some journalist asked the exact same question from him, and what he said was, Kusal Janit Pereira, who was in the middle out then when Kusal Mendes got out, he was the second wicket to fall. When Kusal Mendes got out, we were needing 28 of 28, and Kusal Janit Pereira signaled to the dugout asking to send a right hander. That's what Sanat Jayasuriya said. So I'm directly quoting Sanat Jayasuriya from the press conference. And
yeah,
then so Kusal Janit Pereira wanted right hander sent. So who was the next right hander? It was Vanindu Asaranga and Ramesh Mendes. That's why they sent Vanindu Asaranga and Ramesh Mendes after Vanindu got out. No, sorry,
mm.
Charita Salanka, and soon after
Charita
Charita
Salanga
Salanka
came at
got
5.
out, yeah,
Yeah,
Charita Salanka came at 5. As soon after Charita Salanka got out, they sent Ramesh Mendes shielding Kamindu Mendes and Chamindu
Samindu.
Wickramasinghe. Now, my question again, the journalist didn't ask this follow-up question. Okay, if the requirement was to send a right-hander, why would you send Sarita Salanka after Vanindu Asaranga got out? Because it was Kamindu Mendes who was about to go, right? I mean, because I'm just trying to, kind of counter argue. But anyway,
Yeah,
I mean, if that
definitely.
was the
Yeah,
thing, why would you send Charitas? You could have sent Ramesh Mendes if you wanted right-handers. So I'm not entirely convinced with Sanjay Surya's answer. I'm pretty sure they were also back of their mind. They would have also thought of sending a hitter and finishing off the game as soon as possible because it was in within hitting range, right? Which we flopped royally. I mean, I'm just thinking they tried that and they flopped. But anyway, whatever said and done, even Vanindu Hasaranga should have finished the game because that was so close. And as I was saying, forget all the planning, forget everything. It was such a regulation situation to win a game from, not rocket science, not complicated at all. So we just can't justify that. And batting order, I, they might come up. Yes, their thinking is that the answer is that they wanted a right-hander to be in the middle with Kusal Janipera because he was a left-hander, and they wanted to because most of the spinners were off
but
spinners.
but then I have a
Bishnoi,
question to,
Bishnoi just had one.
why would
Yeah.
Sanat Jaisuri listen to Kusal Janit Pereira, because he's
Okay,
the
no,
head
no, no.
coach?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no. What he said about that was because Kusal Janit Pereira was in the middle because he understands the wicket much better and the situation there. So this is what Sanjay said. Because,
yeah,
so we had to respect Kusal Janit's this thing request. So and that's why I went with that. That's what Sanjay said. So
yeah,
anyway, I don't know. Anyway, it's all hindsight. We can give our opinions, but anyway, I'm not convinced with that batting shuffle. And it's
yeah,
okay. And let me just finish my answer.
yeah,
It's not a, it's not a data backed it's not a properly analyzed batting shuffle, right? So the batting shuffle that I am talking about in modern T20 cricket, it's not I am talking about what's happening in with the good teams, India, Australia. What the batting shuffles that they do, we saw India doing a lot of shuffles in the batting order in the T20 World Cup. So they were
yeah,
playing in different conditions. They played in New York, they played in West Indies. They were playing in different conditions. So they shuffle their batting order a lot, and those are I'm pretty sure pre-planned. And but in the final, I think Akshar Patel said that he was not informed until the second wicket fell, and he was just quickly asked to go out and bat in the final at number 4. but he did
Hmm.
a great job. But I'm pretty sure it was pre-planned by the management, Rahul Dravid and Rohit Sharma, along with their set of analysts. Because even though Akshar Patel wasn't informed, and he was just informed right at that point.
Yeah.
Anyway, our batting shuffle in the third T20 was purely instinct based, and that didn't help us. Instinct based, and of course because of the non-striker requested, it didn't work out. So I mean, I don't know what to say. It didn't help us.
Yeah. Indushan, I want to come to you. Hasaranga, does he play any longer in the as a batting? Sorry, as a bowling all rounder, or just should we play him as a bowler? Because I'm checking his stats over here. I don't know. Basically, 2020 I'm seeing 14 average, 131 years, strike rate is 130 plus. But see, I think he's only scored 250s in 61 innings. His average is 14. I think his domestic is a bit better, his numbers, but this is international cricket. I don't understand about Hasaranga's role and why they're keeping in trust with Hasaranga. This was, I think, Mahela's plan 3 years back. It has failed. It's just like Avishka batting at number 4 in 2020 but they are trying to work on that again because Avishka had a very good LPL, but he didn't get a chance in this 2020 series. But Hasaranga should we now forget that he should be playing all rounder role and just focus on his bowling, because his bowling is also, he's not been performing that well. I think he's completely lost his mojo, or probably he's lost his form. I would say so. Your thoughts on Vanindu Hasaranga's role in this 2020 team? Should he play as a as a primary, as a batting all round, as they say, or should he just focus on his bowling, or what's his role?
I think now I would say he should focus on his bowling. And you told me a stat against Vanadu Hasaranga that he only succeeded two matches as the floater. I precisely remember those two matches. One is a World Cup qualifier against Ireland. Other one is a T20 this year against Afghanistan in Dambulla. When he self-promoted himself and came. One is Mahela sent back because they had a lot of spinners to counter attack. I think he played that innings with Nishanka on one side. Nishanka should have been the other one on the other side, because I vividly precisely remember, because why these are like handful of matches. So that's what the stats is all about. So now, as you said, like because this is a big question, because when he was in RCB, there are many times his batting was not trusted by the RCB management, and they actually sent somebody else ahead of him, and there were so many conversations sparked on social media saying why would RCB do that? So maybe they saw something on him which we now see. I think when you are struggling, I as a player, especially internationally, because Vanindu had a very tough or so from the last LPL to this LPL, because he played with the LPL. There is a controversy about him playing with the injury and kind of worsening the injury, and then he was out of the Asia Cup. He was out of the World Cup, where Sri Lanka needed him mostly, and Sri Lanka technically have to go with Matisha Patrana and Vellalage as their main bowlers, and then we had a very bad World Cup. So now then the captaincy came, and the captaincy, the controversy, umpires, ban, fight, etc., whatnot. He had a lot of things. So now when you are kind of going to that reset button, it's better to focus on one skill which you are overly already shown, proven, tested, and you are a champion in that skill. Yeah, of course, the T20 bowling. Let him go there, because he has a hat trick, and the hat trick came against South Africa, because it's not a fluke, right? So
Yeah.
and I think he got a hat trick against Pakistan also. So
Yes.
so those are the things, these are the things that Manindu Hasranga has already tested, proven. So for some time, yeah, keep your batting aside. Maybe you do some practice, fine, but concentrate on your bowling. Find your form back, find your mojo back, and become as the Vanindu Hasaranga, the lethal Vanindu Hasaranga, who was threatening or batters all over the world. Oh, again, and then once you have your feet on that, then again the experiment with the bat, come back, play well, you do something. I would say like Vanindu for a time period, take a break, go back, work on the skills you want, or maybe like go back to where you started. You will find your answers where you are lacking. Then you take it from there and do that, and then go about it.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree
Quick
with
word,
you.
yeah. Quick
Any
word
point?
on yeah. A quick word on Vanindu's bowling, Pawan.
Yeah,
So I think it's quite clear what he's lacking at the point at this moment. He's bit too slow when it comes to bowling. And I in the first T20, I think he really bowled quick, and his figures were really good. Even though we considered 200 plus, his economy was under 8 in that game, and he also picked up 2 or 3 wickets, crucial wickets. So he was really good in that T20. But second game, like, it was because of him that we probably because it was because of him that India chased it with around 9 balls left.
Yeah.
So
So
he really
I
looped
mean,
it up so much, and he's being too slow at time. Most of the times, he needs to.
I think Adil that should be blamed to his own fitness, no? Because I mean, when you lose,
Correct.
when you
Yeah.
gain weight, and
Yeah.
when you are unfit,
Yeah.
you lose your speed and all these things.
Yeah,
That is
his fitness
natural.
is definitely a concern. His fitness is definitely no. I think even before he got injured, I think he was trying to bowl a bit slow. He was, I mean, when he started, he was a bit more flat. He was quick. He was loopier. Now he kind of towards the end of, even before he got injured, even in the LPL which he performed, not this LPL, 2023 LPL. That was before he got injured, and he was still maybe not the fittest. He looked a bit lean. Then now he's definitely he has put on a lot, but he used to be a bit slow. I think he needs to work on his pace, and he has a lot to work on in terms of his bowling, and of course, as you said, fitness. I think not only one, though, a lot of players have to work on fitness.
yeah,
We've kind
definitely.
of
Many of
dropped the
them,
ball.
many of
We've
them. I
I
dropped the
think
ball.
except
Yeah,
Nisanga and Mendes, everybody looks unfit, and maybe
yeah.
Kusal Janit Pereira has improved a little bit. He's
Improved,
running very
exactly. I
fast.
noticed that as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. He
He's
looks
running
fit
very
now.
fast,
Yeah,
and he takes the doubles comfortably, and he looks fit
yeah,
now. So maybe
yeah. He has transformed a lot. He was not the player who
yes,
was before the T20 World Cup. I think that dropping from the T20 World Cup might have kind of sparked something, and he has worked on his fitness.
yes,
Which is
yes.
a good thing. Which is a really good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk about the middle order also. They're saying Chandimal needed in middle order, but Chandimal didn't get any matches.
Oh.
Are they coming to you? And I mean, I don't know. They pick,
Before you go to Adil, I wanted to remind
yeah,
Adil.
yeah,
I think the press conference captain himself admitted the LPL boundaries are small. You're going to
Yeah,
speak about Chandimal. I'm just giving this reminder to
yeah.
you.
Absolutely, yes, yes. I also know. Yeah, talk about his LPL performance. That's why I also don't want to talk much about this comment, but I want to take it because it's from the comment section. That's why. So Chandimal needed in middle order. I don't know your thoughts on that, but what I found is that in the LPL they didn't give the chances to the youngsters, and this is the biggest problem why we haven't found a power hitter yet. We didn't try Lahiru Samarakon. We didn't try out. I don't several lot of other players. I think that we haven't tried out.
Nipun Dhananjay is there, and they all. I mean, they all got chances here and there. I think Nuvanindu got chances here and
Even
there because
Pawan
he was playing
Ratnayaka
for
got a
Dambul.
chance, but then as Adil pointed out in the previous video, I think Chaturanga De Silva got promoted ahead of Pawan Ratnaik in the crucial match in that eliminator when Pawan Ratnaik had a very good, sorry, had a good innings back then. And then even the last domestic match or whatever he scored 100. I was just seeing stats or whatever he's been performing well, but then no consideration to either at least in the 2020I squad they only brought in Chamindu from the LPL. So Adil, your thoughts? Because yes, we are going back to experience, but now they said they're moving on from Matthews. Now people are saying to bring Matthews back. So I don't know what's going on social media saying to bring in Matthews back, bring in Chandimal back, but then Midlord is not performing still. Shanaka is not. This is so. What's the solution? I mean, we have Lahiru Samarakun. Lahiru Madhushankar, Pawan Ratnaik. I don't know. There's so many options that they have in the middle order, but they're not bringing any of these players when the other middle order is bringing on. So your thoughts on that, Adil?
So let's start with the problem we have in the national team. So our biggest problem are number 5, 6, 7, right? So none of the players whose names that we discussed right now are designated 5, 6, 7 players. So Nuanidu, Pawan, Nipun Dhananjay, even Chandimal for that matter, are
Yeah,
all top order players, right? They'll bat
yeah,
at the top four. Cruz Pulle, you say whatever name, they are all top four batters.
yeah.
And you talk about Lairu Samarkon. Lairu Madhushankar is not young anymore, but still okay. Lairu Madhushankar, Lairu Samarkon, who else? All those players are bowling all. I mean, mostly bowling all rounders. Lairu Samarkon, particularly. So he'll bat at number 8 for you. At most,
But he can bat a bit in domestic. We've seen him performing
yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
because the thing is we are not having batting all rounders. This is the problem that we're having in the
Lairu Samarkon
domestic
is not a
system.
batting all rounder. Yeah,
Yeah,
the Lairu Samarkon is not a batting all rounder. He's a
yeah.
bowling all rounder who can bat at number 8. At most at 7.
So that's the thing. I mean, we don't have
Yeah,
batting all rounders. That's the thing. Like Chamika is also,
exactly.
I think, a bowling all round. If I'm not mistaken, he can bat a bit. But the thing is that
Yeah,
we are not.
Chamik is a bowling all rounder.
Yeah,
Chamik
so
is a
that's the
bowling all
thing.
rounder.
So
Yeah.
we are not having batting all rounders in the domestic system. So that's a huge concern I would feel because we need a batting all round who can replace the Dasun Shanak at the moment because Dasun Shanak is not performing at all. We are not having a replacement for him, and
So
then we
for
are bringing in.
Dasun, I think Chamindu Wickramasinghe is the replacement at this point. So
But then
I
he's playing at number 8. That's why I don't
no.
understand with the.
That's not his position. That's just this T20. This T20 they just played around with the batting order, and that's not his position anyway. If that game went normally, and if our usual batting order went in that game, he would have batted at number 6. At I mean, at worst case, he would have batted at 7. I don't think he was slotted to bat at number 8 in that game. It just happened because they wanted to promote Vanindu and Ramesh Mendis to bring bat keep that right hand left hand combination. So Chamindu's position is definitely not number 8.
Yeah,
At this point for in T20 cricket, Chamindu's position, I mean, Chamindu is the replacement for Dasun Chanaka. But what happens if Chamindu fails? Who is the backup for Chamindu Wickramasinghe? That we still don't have, as you correctly said, not even in domestic cricket. I mean, we have some options. I mean, I'm talking about number 5, 6, 7, right? Not top 4, not bowling all rounders.
yeah.
Let's forget all round options. Let's look at batters who can bat at 5, 6, 7. Banuk Rajapaksa is the only name that comes to my mind, but he's also now approaching the end of his career, still around 31, 32. Okay, yes, I think he's still in their plans. He might get a go in that position, Banuk Rajapaksa. And apart from that, there aren't much. I don't think they'll push players like Pawan Ratnaik or even Janit Liyanagi. I don't think he can bat at T20 cricket at 5, 6, 7. Maybe in ODI, it's not in T20 cricket.
Yes, for
I mean,
ODI, he's a very solid position.
very
At,
solid
he's
batter
batting at number 6, no? Yeah, he's batting at
at the
number
moment.
6,
Janik
right?
Janik has been performing well in ODIs, I think, but in
ODI,
2020
exactly.
he
So
hasn't proved
I
much. Yeah,
yeah, I don't think he can bat at 5, 6, 7. So we don't have players, to be honest, who can bat at 5, 6, 7 in T20 cricket.
But
Even
Adil, I
Charita
think we can.
Salanga, yeah,
But even I was about to say that Charita Salanga is also not number 5, but you don't
yeah,
because we are keeping at number 5 because we don't have any other option.
any other
Maybe
exactly what I was going to
one.
say.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, as you said, I also like give it a thought about the names. Perhaps, I mean, this is a very wild thing. Perhaps we might give Ashen Bandara some chances because he did in the one match he
Yeah,
played well against Afghanistan. Maybe give him because the problem now we have the current batting order. It's like it's a good headache to have. We have too much left-handers. See Kusal Janit,
yeah,
then Kamindu Mendy,
that's
Charita
another problem.
Salanga, then Chamindu.
That's
It's
a
like
big
we are
problem.
stacked up
Yeah,
lefties, right? We are stacked up
even
lefties.
Banu
Maybe to
Rajapaksa
split them.
is a left-hander.
Yeah, Banu Rajapaksa comes, he's a lefty. So maybe to split them,
Left-hander.
maybe give Ashen Bandara a small chance and see. Because, I mean, he has performed well and he's a good fielder. At least
Yeah,
he will save you like 10
exactly.
runs.
Yeah, so
yeah,
even
absolutely.
Ashen Bandara, yes, but okay, talking about Ashen Bandara is a specialist middle order batter. He has batted in the middle order 5, 6, 7 positions all his career since school. So he's a specialist batter. But does he have the power to play international T20 cricket against
Big
top
question.
sides?
That's a big question
Big
mark.
question. I've not
And
seen
and
him
whether he's
bat
a
with
power
that
hitter
power.
also. I've not seen
Exactly.
him being
I
a
don't know,
power hitter in the middle
because
order.
we
He's
are
like sort
talking.
of a conservative batter, according to
Exactly.
me.
More than conservative, he can rotate the strike. He can bat at a strike rate of around 100, at max 110 or something. But
Yeah.
he's 110 the, or even at least he's 120 the strike rate we want from a number five
No,
in T20 cricket
definitely not.
at this
Yeah.
point, because we are
Mhm.
comparing with number fives like David Miller, Henrik Klaasen. Let's talk, if we go to India, it's like Hardik Pandya. So all are big hitters. If you talk
Yeah.
about see Australia, it's Marcus Stoinis, Tim David. So we
Definitely
have
not.
no one who can even come close to that level. Uh, Ashen Bandara is the only like specialist middle order, but he's far behind the international standards of middle order power hitting. Yes, we don't have a lot of options. The only player that I am actually eyeing to come good, he has a lot of time. He needs a lot of time. Is Movin Subasinghe. Unfortunately, he didn't get a LPL contract. He was not picked in the auction. He has not
Mm.
done much in domestic cricket as well. Unfortunately, even though I back him, he has the power. He has to work a lot, and he's probably, and okay. Let me come
Adil,
into this.
I sorry to interrupt, but don't
Yeah,
you think Dunit Velalage is a good option, seeing his batting in the past or whatever? Yes, he can hit
exactly.
a couple of
Yeah,
sixes or
Dhoni,
whatever. He can bat at
100%.
6 or 7, I feel.
Yeah, Dunit has the potential. So that's what I'm coming to say. So yes, there is Dunit Velalage who has the potential. There is Ashin Bandar who can handle the pressure of the middle order, but I'm not sure if he can clear the boundary at will. Movin Subasinghe needs to work on a bit. So we have some potential options. Now what we can do is we can't expect these players to improve and get to that level. We just can't simply put them into matches and expect them to perform, and we can't just go and flop in World Cups again. We can't be ridiculed by the cricketing community by playing Ashen Bandar, or even Dunit Velalage is still at number 5 or 6. What Sri Lanka cricket needs to do is they need to invest more on players with potential who can bat at this point, at this position, 5, 6, 7, and also maybe identify top order players who can adapt to these positions. Charit Asalanka is a really good example. So he's a top order batter, but now he bats at number 5. He has adapted, but yes, he's having a rough phase. But he has played some really good innings. He's kind of adapting, and even in the second T20, he played couple of sixes. So he showed that he's adapting very well. So we need to identify these top order batters. I think Nuwanidhi Fernando should be back to bat in the middle order. He has the skill set, but he needs to put a lot of work. Pawan Ratnayaka, maybe, even though he's a top order batter, probably he can. Ahan Wickramasinghe, yes, has the potential. Maybe he, see, all these players are top order batters, okay, and they've not still proven as proper quality middle order hitters. So we need to identify these players whom we can groom, and Sri Lanka cricket needs to invest, like work with them, play them in A-team cricket, the provincial cricket, and like give them more time in the middle order and groom players. Like players just won't happen. And the best, if you look at, I'll give you a good example of how India groomed Rohit Sharma. Like he was batting in the middle order, but
Yeah,
they kind of took him to the top order. They groomed him, and they made one of the world's best limited overs openers out of him, who was
absolutely.
limited overs player. And back then, TM Dilshan transformed. I mean, you can do these transformations, but you need to put in the work. And these current Sri Lankan players, they won't do these transformations by themselves. We need to
Definitely.
put the coaches. The coaches need to put in time. Sri Lanka cricket needs to like create cricketers who can bat in different situations. We can't always pick the highest run scorers from LPL and make them bat in the middle order. So most of the
Absolutely.
time, the highest run scorers are all top order players who bat in the top four. You can't
Yes.
expect them to come and bat in the middle order. Classic example is batting Dhananjay Silva at number 6 in the ODI World Cup last year. Right? He's a top order batter. He can't bat at number 6. Like he doesn't have the power to do that. Yes, maybe in Test cricket, but not in ODI cricket. So we need to, what do you call? Invest, and we need to work with players. And let me also just finish my answer by talking about Chandimal and Kusal Janit Pereira. I
Yeah.
think they could have been middle order legends for Sri Lanka if they were back to back in the middle order, because I don't. Maybe they were back. They were back when they debuted Chandimal and Kusal Janitera. I think we had enough middle order like hitters. Tisara Pereira was there. Angelo Marquez was his in peak. Vilindi Sirivardhan was there. So we had enough middle order options. So maybe they just wanted to keep them in the top order. But I think
Absolutely.
looking at the skill sets, Chandimal could have been a middle order beast. uh, his career went somewhere.
Yeah.
Kusal Janit Pereira could have been a middle order beast. Uh, they
But
wanted him to always bat in the top order, even though we had a lot of other top order options. So we've never kind of planned players, I mean positions. We've only picked players who top score in domestic tournaments, pick them and just create a batting order out of them. We need to be more role specific. We need to be a very way more role specific. We need to find players who have the potential to bat at these 5, 6, 7 roles, and we need to groom them. We need to work with them, and even the clubs are not concerned. LPL franchises are not
obviously,
concerned.
yeah.
That's not their job. That's not their job at all.
Yeah,
Sri Lanka,
definitely. It's
they
the
want to
selectors.
win matches, not selectors. Sri Lanka, the staff, coaching
So,
staff
I
in
mean, the
general,
selectors also have
they
to
need to
take
identify.
the
Yeah,
responsibility
selectors
of picking
and
the
correct,
middle order
correct, correct,
properly.
correct.
Yeah,
Hundred
scouting.
percent,
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I shouldn't have said not selectors because they also have the responsibility. Them and the coaching staff together, they need to identify potential players for the missing places, and they need to groom. And it won't happen in one night for sure. They'll have to take the
yeah,
time, and they need to go with. They need to prepare a lot of options, because preparing one batter for one position is disaster. Because if he gets injured, if he goes through a lean patch, we'll run out of options. So we'll have to have options, at least 3, 4 options for a particular position. So if it's openers, we need to have around eight options, solid options. If it's number 5, 6, 7, we'll need to have around 9, 10 solid options to bat at number 5, 6, 7, which is probably the most crucial positions for Sri Lanka at this point, because we have a lot of options for top order batting, because
yeah.
most of our highest run scorers in domestic cricket LPL are top order batters, but we find very little middle order batters who are like properly designated to the role. Yes, Ashin Bandar is there, but I don't think he can has.
What
Oh,
about
so yeah,
Arachige, Sahana
again,
Arachige?
again,
Yeah,
same problem. Designated middle order batter probably bats at four at most. 4, 5, 6 is are his positions. Power, I'm not sure. Strike rate, so they need to work on it. They need to work on it.
yeah,
Even Janik
absolutely.
Lenege needs to work
Otherwise,
to become
they'll
a
have to bring
middle
in
order in
the
T20.
ones who retired recently, Surudano, Tisera Pereira back into the team. That's the only other option that we have. If the current set can't, get into the power hitting range or whatever, there's no
Uh,
other option. I mean, there's no other solution if if no one's performing. Otherwise, you have to expect Dunit Velalage to step up and play in the middle order. That's the only solution we have.
yeah,
Otherwise,
I mean, he's a really great option. So he needs to. I mean, they need to kind of do the grooming for him. He's a
yeah.
solid option for number 5, 6,
Yeah,
7.
that's why I think, yeah, that's why I feel after Chamindu maybe Dunit can bat at six or something because he
Not
has the
at this
power.
point. Not at this point. I don't think Dunit will succeed if he gets a go in Sri Lanka cricket. They need to do it in domestic. Make him better at number 5, 6, 7 when he plays for his club, when he plays NSL, when he plays LPL. I mean, that's where they need to be groomed. I mean, you can't just push him and say ask him to bat at number 5 for Sri Lanka right away. Uh, that's never going to happen. Yes, he can bat, but I don't think he'll have this power to clear the boundaries. Chamindu
Yeah,
at this point, since he has proven in LPL, so of course after Dasun, even Chamindu is still young. They've got no other option. They had to fall. They had to pick Chamindu, and I don't know. When we play our next T20, I hope he gets to bat at number 6, which I think he was supposed to bat at number 6 in this game as well. But we just went with a very interesting batting order.
yeah.
But anyway, I mean, Chamindu is there at that position, but it's still we need to put in a lot of work.
Yeah. One more question before we end. So obviously, I need to talk a bit about the ODI squad. Are you satisfied with the picks that they've taken? Obviously, they've picked in Nishan Madushka to the ODI team. They brought back Sadira Samarikrama. I understand why they brought him because sort of to stabilize the middle order. So I understand he's been playing well in the ODI setup a bit better than the 2020I, which is why he's been retained in the 2020I. And they brought in Chamika and they brought in Akila Dhananjay, not to forget obviously those two replacements with Mohammad Siraz and Ishan Malinga that Indushan spoke about, who replaces Matisha and Dilshan Madhushankar. Overall, are you satisfied with the squad before ending this video, Adil?
Yeah, so I think this is the same, more or less the same squad that played the last ODI series. The major change, of course, is the change in the captaincy. They've given it to Charita Salankar. that's a different topic. I mean, they themselves appointed him with a plan, and now midway they've changed. I mean, he shouldn't have been appointed as captain in the first place. But anyway,
Yeah,
that's a different
yeah,
topic.
yeah,
So we have three opening options here. So we have Patum, Avishka, and Nishan Malskan. Very well deserving call up for him. He has been scoring really heavily in domestic cricket with good strike rate. So great inclusion and deserving this. I mean, call up. I think they've kind of dropped Shivan Dena, but I'm not sure if he was part of the squad for Bangladesh, but he was part of the squad against Afghanistan. And Sahan Arachike has been dropped.
yeah,
So batting wise, there aren't much changes. It's pretty much the same squad that went to Bangladesh. From the bowling point of view, yes, injury. There are a lot of forced changes. Dushman Chamir is out. Lair Kumar is out. Dilshan Madhushankar, Matisha Pathan. I don't know why they picked him in the ODI squad in the first place. I'm
yeah.
not a big fan of him playing ODIs because
Same.
just want to
Absolutely agree.
stick him to stick to the game. But anyway, now he's anyway injured. So Shiraz, very deserving call up. He has been doing well in domestic cricket. Ishan Malinga, kind of a surprise, but he has been doing in this particular domestic tournament. I think he picked up a 5 or 6 for few days ago as well, and he showed a lot of promise and pace in the LPL game that he got 1 or 2 games. They've kind of dropped. I don't know if they've dropped or is he also injured? Pramod Madushan, they've not picked him here, and Pramod Madushan they've not picked, and the other fast bowler that they've overlooked is Isita Vijay Sundara and Chamika Gunasekar and Milan Ratnayaka. So those three were kind of ahead of Ishan Maling in the picking order.
Yeah, definitely.
But
That's a
they've
different.
gone with
Yeah,
Ishan Maling. I think because Ishan Maling has extra pace because he can bowl really quick. So since they also don't have Dushman Chamira and Disha Madhushankar, so they might have gone with Ishan Maling, which is a fair call. So now they have Asita Fernando and Ishan Maling as like the quick bowlers. Shiraz is not very fast, but he's a really effective new ball bowler. He can swing the ball with the new in the power play. Not the fastest, but he's a really effective swing bowler. And they've also looked beyond Kasun Rajat. I think they didn't pick him since the World Cup. So this fast bowling attack looks decent. Not much experience, but we have variety. We have pace. We have swing. We
Any
have
reasons as to why Kasun Raditya is not being picked? Because I mean, he has the experience against India
Of course,
also, and
yes. No, I think it's better for him to stick to T20 cricket. I mean, sorry, not what am I
Test
talking?
cricket,
Test cricket,
Sorry,
yeah, Test
yeah.
cricket, yeah, Test cricket. But given the injuries, maybe they could have considered him for this ODI series. I'm not sure, but anyway, it's good to go with a youngster. Let's wait and see. But the attack looks really
But I mean, he played
anything
the
but
ODI
decent.
World Cup also. Kasun Raditya, and
Yeah,
after that,
yeah.
he's not
But
being considered.
since then they've not picked him because I think he's not in their plans at this point of time. So
Yeah,
maybe they want him just to focus on Test cricket probably.
yeah,
Spin
yeah,
attack. Well, I mean, Vanindu, Mahesh, Dunit Tellalage, they've been in the squad for Bangladesh as well. Akhil Dhananjay is back. And batting order, I mean, as I said, looks pretty much similar. So
yeah.
I'm not entirely sure about the playing 11 for the first game. I don't. I mean, anyway, Pathum will start for sure as the opener. I'm not sure who will partner him. It will probably be Nisha Madhushka won't debut in the first
I
game.
think Kusan
That's for
Mendes
sure.
will open, right? Probably
Either
again,
Kusal
or
Mendes,
will
yeah,
Avishka
or either
Fernando? Oh,
Kusal,
Avishka Fernando
exactly,
will open with
yeah,
Tatum, and
probably
then
either Kusal or Pathum and
Kusal will
Avish.
play at three. Kusan Mendes will
Exactly.
play at three, probably,
I
and
think
then Sadir
that's
at
the most
four,
likely. Exactly.
and
Sadir
Sadir
at
at
four,
four,
Charit at five,
and
Janit
Janit Lianage
Lianage
at
at six.
six, and
And if we
then
are playing three spinners, it will be Wanindu, Dunit Vellalage, or either Dunit Vellalage, Wanindu. So
I'll
that will be the
play
top eight.
Dunit Tabab Hasaranga, and then
Okay,
yeah,
whatever.
Hasaranga.
That's the batting
Yeah,
order anyway. But
yeah,
anyway, that will be the top eight.
yeah,
If and we might play Mahesh Tikshana and we might play two fast bowlers. Probably, definitely Asif Fernand will play, and I think
Mohammad Siraj will get the chance. Yeah,
Shiraz
Siraj,
will get a debut ahead of Ishan
Ishan
Malinga
Malinga.
because Shiraz will can take the new ball. And if they
Yeah.
want an extra pacer, they'll
They
play
can play
Chamika
Chamika. They can also
ahead
bring in
of
Chamika
Bellal.
and get bring extra batting into the team.
Exactly. So if they want extra fast bowler, they might drop Bellalagi and play Chamika instead of him.
Yeah,
So looks balanced, but the middle order is not in form. It's pretty much the same middle order that played in the T20 series.
yeah,
Janit Lianage comes in. Yes, Avishka will bat at the top. So middle order, I'm not still convinced. Um, Lower order hitting is non-existent at all. If and Banindu is also out of form, so it's pretty much non-existent.
Absolutely.
Fast bowling attack apart from Asita Shiraz, so he'll debut, so not that experience. Even if Chamika comes in, still not quite experienced. Spin attack looks this is our best spin attack, of course.
Yeah,
Banindu might
absolutely.
season and
Yeah.
Velaleke.
Yeah.
Akila Dhananjay might get a game if I don't know if he'll get a game.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that looks the squad, and just yeah, so that's pretty much the squad.
Do you see Sri Lanka winning a game in the upcoming ODI series, or is it another whitewash for India very easily against Sri Lanka this time around?
I, I think it's safe to say it will be another whitewash.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Anyways, thank you so much, Adil. And Indushan had to leave. He had some issue with audio, so that's why he left. But thank you so much, Adil and Indushan, for taking your time. Yes, we went past our time limit, but yeah, we had a lot to discuss about. And yeah, definitely we'll put timestamps once again. So thank you so much, Adil, for taking your time. I'm so sorry for
No worries.
obviously taking more than what is
Yeah,
required, but we had a lot of points to discuss and we covered all of that. So do subscribe to Sports Breakdown, like, comment and share. And yes, we will come back after the ODI series probably, and then we'll obviously focus more on the England Test series because that is more crucial than this bilateral series where we have to discuss a lot about the WTC and all that. So we'll be coming for that, and think it starts on August 10th or 11th. So we will be discussing more about the England Test series coming up. So thank you so much, guys, and